He says they returned several skill position players that saw a lot of time last year, names that we recognize that we'll get into, and he feels like they have some depth in those areas. What they're really looking for this year is that consistency. They ran for 394 yards against Elmwood Brimfield. They averaged 9.5 yards per carry in that game. But then you move on later in the season, several times they were held under 100 yards. So,
Hmm.
that's a little bit of, that what can you find something that works, and can the players execute game in and game out? That would go a long way to this Stark County team being where they were last year, or, what they're hoping for, improving on last year.
Yeah, and certainly last year, losses to Knoxville, to Rova, to Weathersfield, to Mercer County, and then to Rova again in the playoffs. So, they lost to the good teams. That's all you can say, and that was certainly coming off of a 1-8 season. So they saw that jump last year. Good experience getting into the playoffs, at least 5 wins, and so now you've got a team coming back, like you mentioned, several skill positions, certainly led by Luke Rewerts, who we really, really like
Yep.
as a quarterback for the Rebels, and some other names that we'll get into. So I expect we talked a lot about Anna Weathersfield and Roval Williamsfield, which I still think um, that game might determine who wins the conference. But Stark County is going to be right there with who they have coming back.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Rewerts, a name we called last year. Nolan Orwig, a junior running back. He had 5 touchdowns a year ago. Chris Barnwell will step in as a junior at running back. He'll get some more carries. Matthew Bowser, a senior wide receiver. He had 104 yards rushing. He also caught some passes. He also threw some passes. So he
Yeah,
was doing a little bit of everything for him. Connor Wagenbach, a senior wide receiver. You go through the list. Tanner Price was a third-year starter on the offense. He'll be a third-year starter on the offensive line. So, there's pieces here. Matthew Bowser, again, a name we talked about as a wide receiver. He's a third-year starter as a defensive back as well.
hmm,
So, this is a Stark County Rebels team that I think, like Coach said, if they can establish that consistency defensively, being able to stop those run-heavy teams, those little things, they can shore some of that up. I think this team is looking to improve, once again. And again, it comes down to, I do like Stark County being in a division where the playing field's a little more leveled. They're facing enrollments that are closer to their size. They're avoiding the big crossovers with the Prairie Land.
yeah. They're certainly got two pretty crucial games to start off the year against teams that are coming back off of playoff appearances. They open up at home against Rushville Industry, and then they go to Kewanee Weathersfield. So they really get into the thick of things right away. So, but again, with what they have coming back, could the Rebels be a disruptor in the fold here? And again, maybe try and get their footing up right there with the Titans and with the Cougars to try and get a share or a claim to this title. I think that they can. So again, the Rebels with what they have coming back, Luke Rewerts, I'm looking forward to what they can do, and I expect them to get back into the playoffs this year.